AV Super Friends on Topic is an independent production wholly owned and operated by AV Super Friends, LLC. For the highest quality recording of all of our shows, visit avsuperfriends.com. This is AV Super Friends on Topic, a 30-minute monthly roundtable focused on a single topic. This discussion will be opinionated, to the point, and saturated with our well-known blend of painfully won expertise and deeply ingrained immaturity. For August 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV Super Friends on Topic. Broadcasting live to tape from coast to coast, easternmost to westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Dector. It's time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure with the AV Super Friends.
Yay. That was impressive. That was a real quick fade. What did you do there?
I stepped on it because I've got too much stuff going over here.
So, go on.
I was just going to say.
I will jump on you as you start talking. So
okay.
Go.
So interrupt me after we start. Mm-hmm. Ordinarily, we stream live on the third Friday of the month, but we can't read calendars and realized last week we should have streamed and didn't stream. So instead, you're seeing us now on the fourth Friday of the month, which means we're also going to stream next Friday, the first Friday of the next month, and then also the third Friday. It's whatever. Just follow us on the tweeters, LinkedIn's, intercams, Snippy Chimps, all that fun stuff, and you can find out
what watching this. I'm curious where you are watching this from.
Probably from a computer or phone.
Because I can tell you right now we are not on X or Twitter with 100% certainty.
It's supposed to be working. Is it not working?
No, Elon is requesting us to upgrade our account to premium for us to be able to stream live there from now on. So just FYI.
Yeah,
sorry for
Elon wants his money.
Elon wants his money. He's got to shell out to a campaign contribution, so he wants us to pay for that.
But I just bought 4 Cybertrucks. I should get that streaming.
Okay, well, we'll figure that one out in a minute because we do have a premium account. So that means there's a disconnect somewhere and an API that's not logging.
No longer API. But we are on LinkedIn. For those people viewing on LinkedIn, congratulations.
Yeah, actually, if you don't mind, you could go grab the stream or the LinkedIn link and throw it into the tweeters. If you can figure out how to do all that stuff.
Man, you are really. This is Larry's job, and you have to run all this thing.
Larry's not here today, so
everything went to hell.
Everything is
juggling all this stuff
completely wrong right now.
Yeah, so Larry is not here with us today. Larry is on a family vacation. They took, as I understand, they took a bunch of rafts over to the local amusement park, and they were whitewater rafting in the Raging River ride or something.
Raging River
Downhill.
Ride. That's the official name.
What do you call it?
A river?
Okay.
Oh, God. Anyway.
All right. So anyway,
like you were saying.
Let's say hello to the panel of AV Super Friends who are here today. And let me go switch to this screen.
I'm barely here.
Whoops, that's a little bright. Let me dial that back. Joined by a central implementation producer from Kansas City, Jamie Reinhardt.
Hi there.
Hold on. It's going. Also joined by a dynamic brand architect from Corvallis, Oregon, Mark Kolowazinski.
Did you guys see this? Did you see the color on this? This looks amazing.
That's very dynamic.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. It sounded overcompressed.
Also joined by our Chief Accounts Vice President from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
I have all the accounts.
Just the chief ones.
Just the chief account.
All of them. And yours. I have your accounts.
Well, good.
Well, I'm glad you're in charge of that.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be.
Except for the Twitter account, X. I don't have that.
I take no responsible.
That's the only account I don't have.
That's Larry.
Something is very broken on that.
Larry did that.
I was trying to fix that this morning, and obviously that didn't work. So, all right.
You broke it.
So for the second month in a row, there has been no topic provided by the fine folks at Higher Ed AV, so we're going to make up our own stuff for our on-topic topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't know. Honestly, I think most people have drifted pretty far from everyone trying to do this, cover the same general topic every month, so it had some cohesiveness, and now it's just kind of a random assortment of things. So,
yeah.
Why not? We're going to go really random.
It's a real potluck of topics.
So what we decided we would talk about is display technologies. And I don't remember how it came up, but I think it's every couple of months. It's the question of whoops, I got to get my timer going here too.
Go.
Has LED gotten to the point where we can justify putting that everywhere we want? Short answer is no. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month.
Yes, we can.
No, we
yes,
cannot.
Yes, we can.
So we have numbers. We have a
have
spreadsheet.
that Oregon money. Oregon.
So we're going to talk about that. Let me start this thing going there. All right, there's our timer. Okay.
Litigate this. Get to the bottom of it right now.
So I guess the first thing we need to just discuss is nomenclature. Mark, you raised right before the show. What do we call these things?
And it sounds stupid, I know, and that's okay. I always sound stupid. I'm used to that. We know what projectors are. We know what like the big dog LED thing is, but like what are we referring to that middle ground thing as? And we had talked about some different, like, when you're meeting with a client, I think people default like, hey, the big TV, right? But what are we agreeing on? What is that called? Tell me, like how do you refer to them?
If it's to a client and it's not a desktop monitor, like a computer monitor, I have to say monitor for the computer, or like the on top of a lectern or something. But if it's a 55-inch TV, because that's all they ever want to hear. Now, if it's
as
us
wrong
nerds,
as it is, that's what we refer to it
yes.
as. Okay.
If it's
okay.
us nerds, it's just
I'm
a
making
display
sure.
or a monitor. But
Just making sure.
But aren't you also asking like what do you call the technology driving those displays? Or are you talking about just the general physical display?
Just a
Just what do you
physical
call it?
display.
how do you
Look,
differentiate?
Jeremy's here.
If you say, hey, we're going to put a display here, people think of it as the typical TV style, not a projector or a direct view.
And you're okay with like the risk and like, oh, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl on this thing. Like, and you know, obviously it doesn't have a tuner. Like,
Well, that's part of
do
needs
you have to
analysis.
fall into that whole thing?
No, but if I feel like I need to, then yes, I have the disclaimer of
Okay.
blah, blah, blah. But you know, in the last few years, nobody asks.
Okay.
Everybody's in that streaming mindset. I mean, the fact that I use a tuner at home and that's it. Really,
You're the
really
guy. It's
use
you.
a tuner. Why would you do that? Because over the air is better.
Why is it better?
Oh, no.
That's a whole nother
This is
show.
going to go sideways
Because it's
quick.
free. Because it doesn't cost
Yes.
anything.
But it's better quality.
Yeah.
Costco shopper right there.
Hey, buddy.
Well, okay. So related to the technology, what about if we're speaking in slightly consumerish terms? All LCD televisions are branded as LED because they're talking about the backlight technology,
And that's where things get real
and that's where
slippery.
it gets squirrely.
That's why I never really get into that kind of technology. And most people don't care.
No.
You're just like, I'm not even going to go there.
If you're describing the technology between, or the difference in technology between an LCD video wall and an LED video wall, and they're wondering why there's a huge delta in price.
At that point, they're probably like, I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
They don't care.
Okay, fair enough.
We do,
Yeah,
but they don't.
Yeah, if I get to that, like a video wall thing, then I have to break it down further. But generically, I don't even look at the paneled LED walls anymore. The TV walls.
Okay.
I don't even look at them anymore.
So we still refer to projection. That's kind of like, that's your nomenclature there. Like people know what that is.
I would hope so.
I would hope so. Okay.
I've now taken to calling them all overhead projectors to confuse the shit out of people.
Light
No,
boxes.
people actually, the people
That's
we
my light
talk
box.
with, they understand that.
Yeah, but they're thinking transparencies.
Sure.
I still like the people who refer to them as cameras. I love that. The camera in here looks weird.
It's a reverse camera. That's what that is.
Yeah.
With the camera, yeah, I've heard that before. The
All right,
camera in
so
the ceiling's broke.
so
So what's the exercise, Chris? What are we doing?
So related to that, the task at hand here is where is the delta in the three different display technologies? So an LCD panel with LED backlighting, a projection display, LCD or DLP, doesn't matter, but they're all laser driven, and an LED direct view large format display. Where do we see those deltas in recent projects or in, just in generally in the market? And the magical spreadsheet, which I put together, and I noticed that no one else
I
put anything.
looked at it.
You
I made
looked at it,
comments
thank
yesterday and today.
You
I
made
looked
a
at it
vague comment
also.
to me.
I just looked at it now.
Does
you
it
go.
matter who got the comment? You're not going to bring up bulb versus laser, Justin. Are
No.
you? I don't.
No.
Let's not go there. Okay.
I
Yeah.
can't even go there, and I'm in Kentucky.
And that's I'm
we're
just
even
making
past
sure
that in
we are
Kentucky.
Yeah, if
mature
you're
enough
still
to not
buying
get
lamp
into that.
projectors, please stop.
Okay.
I'm not.
And so we gathered and aggregated common sizes that we felt were comparable in teaching and learning spaces. True? Is that what we kind of came up with? The sweet spot, so to speak.
We kind of
In
get
a
out there
normal
on
in a
size on
normal
the-
size space. And what is normal? What do we say our assumptions were, Chris? Roughly.
Assumptions with what?
Size of room, because somebody's going to die on that hill. Well, I'm
I-
going to be at the back of the room. and
I
I'm
didn't
not
even go
gonna
into
really
that.
see
That's
shit.
this
So-
covers everything. So the
It
sizes
gets
I did on
pretty
this
big.
was displays up to 20 feet. So 20 feet diagonal. So just a quick some ground rules on this. These are all 16 by 9 like God intended. There's no 20:9 nonsense. There's no 4x3 nonsense, and there's no
Jumping off this call, we can't.
Yeah. there's no 16 by 10 wrong aspect ratio purchase.
But all projectors are
We'll just put a
16:10
scale
native.
Yeah, I know
there.
they are, and we've had that discussion before. So projectors
put a
are for
scale.
business. That's for doing
Okay.
business, and 16 by 9 is for actual content. So use 16 by 9. Anyway,
Okay. Like you were saying.
so I've got
Straining.
LCDs on the spreadsheet from, and I guess we can share this out. I'll put the link in the show notes. We have LCDs on here. I just have 2 on here. One that says less than 86, 85, 86. So if you're 86, 85 or less, then and you need a display of that size, then you're doing an LCD because that's literally the only thing out there, unless I guess you're projecting on the
You're not
wall
doing any
or
like
something.
65-inch
Short
projection
throw.
screens.
Short throw
Okay,
projector,
good point, Justin. The
Right
short
on the
throws, don't do
wall.
short throws, which are terrible in general. So please don't do those.
unless you're K through 12.
I shockingly have done some short throws lately.
No,
just
for the purpose of this exercise
yeah, not
and
here,
for
not
the rest
today.
of your life.
yeah, not for these folks.
The only other thing I listed for LCDs is 98/100. Most are 98. Are in LCD land, and anything above that, you're in LED or projectors. The interesting thing is there is some crossover there. You can get small projection screens and do projectors at like 92 inches and things like that. But at that point, just put a
what are you
big
doing?
ass TV on the wall and call it a day.
Okay.
That's kind of where LCD landed. Is rule of thumb: 100 inches or less, go LCD. That's an easy
The whole
choice.
elevator thing and which floor does it go on is a decision point for us on that one.
It can be, yes, I
Can
guess
be.
so.
Yeah, but that's
So it does
take a
tip
window
it.
out.
No, we don't do
Yeah,
that.
forklift them in. We've done that. Through
Turn them up the
side window.
stairs.
Just rent a crane like everybody else.
Yeah. See, we
Or
don't
two
got
big
that kind of money.
hillbillies and a couple of toe straps. Look at them up there.
Once you get to 100 inches, for the most part, I'm guessing we're doing projection. That is to say, 100 to about 180, 200, somewhere up to that 20 feet range. We're probably doing projection. And this is the question of the day is like, well, then at which point can we do LED large format displays, which all start at a little over 100 inches, and they go up to that same, 20 feet. Oh, also on the LEDs, the large format displays,
Yeah.
we're looking only at the all-in-one, our
Yes.
favorite
Yes,
all-in-wonders.
Yeah, yeah.
None of the nonsense that requires a custom build out where you do the crazy math with the panels and have to have a processor and all that stuff behind it. I get it. For those special installations, you're doing some nutball sports stadium and you need things all the way around. You're doing a performing arts center, museum, whatever, and you want those special strip displays. That's fine. Do whatever you want. We're talking about in general, bog standard, average projects, which are most likely rectangular classroom type rooms.
I
of
think
some sort.
this whole thing is about it's coming down. Like that's the
getting
takeaway.
close.
It's coming down, right? And that's where we started to have the whole conversation where, is it going to be at that point? And so we did the exercise to say, okay, well, what's the pressure here? Is if you're just dollars to donuts, where does it become attractive? And if it's just size and that's your only metric and that's the only thing you care about, and you just want to get as big as you can for the least amount of number, then you're probably still going to be in projection world
It's projection land.
Yeah.
every single time. Now, to me, it starts to get into what should you be doing in these spaces becomes the narrative. Like, what is it that you're doing? And are you trying to go with like minimum viable product teaching and learning space or maximum allowable impact teaching and learning space? What should you be doing versus what are you doing? To me, that's the question. So, should you be doing more direct view style displays, or are you okay with just the projection at this point? Are you getting the job done?
Yes, I would like to do more, but my budget dictates that I cannot.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately.
I'm finding a lot of or more and more cases where places where I would have even putting in a more powerful projector, a 10 or 12,000 lumen projector, but if it's got a ton of light, you're still battling all the rest of the necessaries but man, you just couldn't make that hop into LED. But the prices are now to the point where I just asked you guys all the same
Yeah,
question the other day too. Like, look, I am now in the market to be purchasing more and more of these 130-inch ish, all in one, hanging on the wall. It's still 110 volt outlet.
Some
It's
take
simple.
2.
Yeah. Okay.
But
This
still,
one
yes.
takes 1.
Still easy,
Yeah.
right? And off we go, because at that 35 grand mark.
And that was the
moly. I
average
mean,
price that we all kind of elected to say roughly 35K. Yeah, people out there, yes, you can go cheaper. You can go a whole lot more. We kind of picked that as the middle of the road where you're going to start to see this cost. And that's, you got some structure, you got some power stuff. You got this is not the 4K sub 1 millimeter pixel pitch thing. That's not what we're talking about.
It's
We're
adequate.
talking adequacy level 2
And that's
here.
a good point, Mark. On the LED large format displays, these are all 1080p models. They are all pixel pitches of between 1.5 to 2.5 because that's how they do the sizing on those. So
We did go down to 1.2 though.
Yeah, which
1.2
is
to
good.
2.5 is how we did it, but we didn't go less than that. These are not 4K models. These are not crazy custom models. These are kind of your off-the-shelf in fixed sizes, and they all seem to. It's interesting, kind of like with projection screens. A projector can be any size you want. It has an infinite number of possibilities based on how far away it is from something and how you zoom it, or with the lens you put on it. But an LED, similarly, you can build custom ones, but these are kind of all fixed in place, and that's what we're looking at. Because to Jamie's point, it's super easy. Yes, I need some structure on the wall. Yes, I need 2 110 circuits. But other than that, the rest is just I need a LAN connection, a HDMI cable, and we're done. So it's from the standpoint of something that's deployable and scalable. There's potential there.
Yeah,
It's much
and, I
easier
mean,
to support these than a bunch of projectors in the ceiling too,
and
at scale.
I'm not ready to put them everywhere, but I do have now.
I'm
I have
ready.
some.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Go.
We just don't,
We're
we just don't
buying
have the
them
money.
today.
We're ready to do
There.
it. Just
Well,
show me
okay.
the money.
Financially,
Like,
we're not ready just to throw them all over the
There-
wall.
How
but-
many
There
do
we
you
go.
have currently? Just give me a snapshot of your fleet.
we're about to have. Well,
I'm
besides
not
our
not
sports
not
stadiums,
sports videos.
yeah,
No, excluding
we're
those.
about to have one.
Okay,
So,
One.
Okay, Chris.
3, I think.
I have
something
I
like
have
that.
been trying to purchase these all-in-ones for the last 2 years, and I just couldn't. But they were still tipping more towards 50 grand, and people were looking at it. But now they're saying, well, a 98-inch display is X amount, or I can go just, wow, that would be really impressive. And now that I have the one, it's easier, and I'm able to.
I
now
feel like
have
the first one is the
interest.
hardest one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Yes.
that's the justification, right? And so I went from having none to outside of sports venues and very unique boutique to having you've seen the big giant seminar style events. It's quasi event space to having 2 to 3 more within like 6 months. So
Yeah,
I
I think
feel
once
like
people
once
see
that
it,
dam
it's like,
breaks and
oh.
it comes through,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'll
it
have-
starts to come out. Yeah,
I think I'll have 3 or 4 by the end of the year.
right. I think
By this
so,
time next year.
Right.
Time next year, I should have 3 or 4, and then looking at more.
right, and that's kind of where I go with. If we see the continued kind of pressure to come down in pricing on that, obviously, if it comes down to projection prices, it would be a no-brainer. But I don't know if it ever will. But is it the better experience? Let's talk about the actual differences between these things.
Well, that's the tough that as I was
should
putting
be.
together the spreadsheet, that's the part I couldn't. It's the intangible. There is a wow factor to LED large format displays. That, to Jamie's point, 100-inch display, all installed, all that. Yes, you're an $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 or more, depending on the level of display you want in there. Just an LCD, sorry, a 100-inch LCD.
Right.
Plus, you have to consider I need structure in the wall, I need power, I need a mount, I need all the stuff. So you may be in that like 12 to 15 range, and then to say, okay, for double the price, you can have something that's a little bit bigger, but look at this.
So
And
are,
you've
I'm
had a lot
doing
of
the big
departments
ones with interactivity now too. So it's like,
Oh,
which is even wilder. Yeah, I know. As gross as that may seem.
Here's my newest thing. I'm finding interactive
Yeah.
displays that people don't know are interactive, and I unplug the USB cable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine.
Solves so many problems.
So I think when you start, if you were going to do an active learning room today, and you needed to do the big dog display, because this is one of the challenges, and this is
And
a
here's-
weird. And yes, you could do the big interactive, that whole thing, but the problem I'm up against a lot is that yes, those displays are serving the little bullet table, whatever the group of students directly in front of it, but how often do you have those students that are actually looking across the room? Because the instructor is standing in the middle of the room talking to them. And so how are they accessing the actual data off of those displays? Very seldom do they actually turn around and view the one display that's right there. They're actually viewing from across the room. So that whole like, oh, well, I'm only serving this area, that whole argument goes right out the window, right? And so you're
saying the people in the groups are they're looking at somebody else's display?
Yes. It happens a lot. They're not working on their computer on somebody else's display, but the instructor's content is out because the instructor's talking to them.
That says like you've got the wrong person teaching in that room because they should be doing group
I'm
projects.
just bringing up the thing that happens. People land in those spaces. They're not completely trained to be doing everything active learning room. So the whole size of the display things always riddles me because I can never get it to be exact. If I was just serving just the 8 students that are right there, it'd be one size. But the reality is there'll be discussions.
Well, let me ask this question. If you're building an active learning room from scratch, they say, hey, Mark, we're doing a new building. We need an active learning space over here. Is your default to include the displays for each group, pod, whatever you want to call it, but also a large display at the front of the room, the primary display, whatever you want to call it, that is sized appropriately for people to sit anywhere in the room and look at it?
We don't have that luxury.
Why not?
In the actual architect creation of the room, the way that the infrastructure is around the room, it's just all pods, right? There is no, I understand what you're saying, have those things. But right now we're sitting on like the big TV version of these in spaces, 80s, 90s, 100s, and things like that. I would love to go to like the LED version of these in an active learning room and really blow this thing apart.
The only challenge with that I could see is you'd have to, and this is one of my pet peeves, is mixing display technologies in a single room. So you're mixing projection plus LCD, at the student pods, or to your point, you put an LED at the front, but then the students have, their 65-inch LCDs, and they're going to, you'll never get those to quite line up.
Oh yeah, it'd be weird.
I always struggle because when you shine a projector on a direct view LED, you can't see either image very well.
Yeah, it just goes
Get better
south.
projectors, man.
What are y'all doing?
Fancy things, Justin.
I
Fancy
need to
things.
keep it more simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see these things coming into our seminar rooms, our high-end board/conference rooms.
See it more in boardrooms.
Those
and-
things right now. But
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see it in some teaching and learning spaces. So I think it's gonna happen in the next year.
Auditoriums maybe,
Yes.
but not widely in classrooms yet.
And
Hopefully soon.
Well, I have a couple of just even they're 30 seats, but they're more executive style class. The fit and finish is so high
Yeah.
that I have
kinda
a
deserves
space
it.
or two for those. Most of mine are still anything that faces the public. So if they have admissions meetings in there with prospective students,
I
they're
could see
looking
that.
at trying to do an LED.
Right.
If it's just, accounting 101, nobody
Probably not.
cares.
help me unpack this a little bit. We've talked
have
about
2
in the
minutes.
past. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna nail down.
We're gonna
Maybe-
unpack
maybe
this in
maybe overtime on
60
this one.
seconds.
So, do you
Can't go
see
overtime, we get
do you see a
complaints.
world where you're going to reduce your classroom footprint on campus? Yes or no? With technology density.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Do you
say
see a
that
world
again
where,
in
where
words
you're
that
going
make
to
sense.
deprecate classrooms
Yes.
in the future because your enrollment's not going to justify having as much density of technology out there?
So the
I don't know.
answer is yes to the first half, no to the second half, because our enrollment's
Yeah.
going up.
Well, yeah, we're saying, but okay. So we've all have to press ourselves to kind of find a way to reduce whatever. So you're probably all agreeing we're not going to do as much deployment. So does that change your perspective, saying where you do deployment, you're going to put best in class?
Yes.
And does that give you justification for saying we're going to go this route in these teaching and learning spaces at core campus? We want to have
we're
the
on
best
the edge.
right there. And that, to me, that's where I think things will go. We will have no technology on the edge. In that, the closer to core campus you become, you're going to have your best of breed experience. And I think that's where this stuff starts to fall.
I think that's where this conversation even started, is the fact that those direct view displays are getting to a price point to make that topic exactly right on. Like I would be more, but they're going to have to start tweaking down to around the 22.
I was going to say it needs to be about 10,000 less
But why?
And then all of a
but
sudden-
but why that number? Why?
because it's a
just-
better argument.
But is that coming from a place where you're stretched right now to meet the needs of too much technology deployment? If you weren't concerned with equity, like putting these things everywhere, and you're going to put in best breed, does that change your economic decision?
Not on
I think
our
it's
campus.
easier to swing that in mass at a little bit smaller price point.
I think
mean,
the
we're almost
higher
there.
end. I think the
almost
higher end spaces on our campus, if the technology came down 20, 30%, it would be more interesting to us just for the high-end spaces. That's how far away we are from it. I just, ask me again next year when we have a new budget. We'll see.
You're gonna be like, I need 3% more, man. I just need 3% more off of this, and maybe I can propose this. Maybe.
Well,
We
the
need a
challenge also is
short
a lot
LED displays, make them come down in price, right?
The challenge budgetarily is that a lot of this is based not on the, hey, you have, let's just throw out a number, you have $10 million to do campus. And if that's 500 rooms, and thus it's, do my math here for me, 20 grand a room, whatever it is. If I only have 400 rooms and it's 25 grand, it doesn't really work that way. What they'll do is they say, oh, your estimate was 20 grand a room. Well, we'll just reduce your budget by that. You still get 20 grand a room for the 100 room or 400 rooms. So it's.
But I will say this also, something to think about. 100% of the DirectV LEDs we've installed they use construction money. They're not using their own money.
Capital funds,
Capital funds. Right.
So that's something else to consider too, is you're going to get better luck of throwing these in capital projects versus just a renovation.
Well, I do believe that technology is a bit of an arms race for universities moving forward, and you will have to have the best of breed in there. And I think you will see a lot of that trickling into our decision-making processes when we look for recruiting students and making sure they're here and people touring. We've done some high-end spaces that look really, really good from tours to make sure that we're actually attracting those students that want to be excited to be here. I think that will factor into your calculations moving forward.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's, like I said, that's the intangible. That's the wow factor. So places that get a lot of, Jamie, you said like the high-end finish spaces. Mark, you said the public-facing places and tours. You see these a lot in the welcome centers or in the alumni buildings, things like that. But also you're going to start to see them in places where pound for pound you get more students in there. So it makes more sense economically to put this in a lecture hall or a large, heavily used classroom with 75 or 80 seats or something, because you cycle more people through there in a day. To your point, Mark, it's a bit of an arms race. More students are going to see that and experience it and get value out of it, as opposed to I put one of these in a 30-seat classroom over in the in the engineering building that is only used by 600 level classes, and there's like 12 people in there a day, sort of thing. So
right, I think you have to put your money where your attention goes. Right, if you have 100 students sitting in a room looking in one location, you need to put your money where they are looking to make sure your brand is being best represented.
But you're saying put the money on the wall?
Put the money, just hang it up, staple
hang
it
dollar
right
bills
on
on
the
the
wall, make it there. So anyway. Invest where their attention is going to be, because they will notice. They're paying the money. They're paying the bills. They know, like, what am I paying for? I
Paying
can
for
go.
that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just
Paying for that 8K interactive display over there.
Paying
That's
for
right.
that.
I will just say,
instructor up
as an
front.
aside, Justin, to your point about capital funds and donor funds and special time, one-time monies that no one had to pay for, hey, it's free.
Yeah, it's
I
somebody
have-
else's money. It's not.
I have an
WKU
LED
money.
video wall on campus, which is, I think, 7 years old. So it's pretty early days on this one. The size of it is ridiculously small. It's like 110 inches. It's like, okay, whatever. I get it. At the time, it's interactive, et cetera. It's got every bell and whistle, every checkbox, every check they can make on the list, on the order form for that. The users absolutely hate it, not because of what the display looks like, but the way it's being controlled, the other stuff driving it. And it's a pain in the butt to the point where they want it gone. And I said, well, what do you want to replace this with? And I'm like, oh, just a big TV. Jamie, to your point, that's what they understand. Just put a big TV on there.
Best Buy,
Big
give me
TV.
something. Give me something nice.
How big
And
can
it
you
will-
go? Can you go 200 inches on your TV?
Give me a refrigerator too. Put that next.
Well, I asked them, I was like, well, what do you
I asked
want me
that
to
a
do
lot.
with this? Do you want to repurpose somewhere else? They were like, no, get rid of it. And
just
I'm
do
like,
whatever you want with it. Get
okay,
out of
well,
here.
I guess I'll
Trash
just
it.
go put this somewhere else on campus then.
Build a
Chris's
Christmas
magnet,
tree out
he's
of it.
put them onto his truck. He's driving around
Yeah.
town with them.
Well,
you're seeing
again,
right now behind
this
you.
one's it's like 720p. Keep in mind it's like 2017 time frame, so it's got some city miles on it. Again, the idea was you come into the boardroom and wow, look at that, but
I just want to give
doesn't
you my
quite
money.
have that effect.
Yeah. Okay. So what did we determine here today?
I'll determine the damn thing.
We got to the bottom of it, right?
We talked about how shit's still too expensive and it needs to come down in price.
But it's getting close.
But it's getting close. It's
Getting
almost there.
closer.
It's almost there.
There's less between projector and big TV than there is between big TV and LED.
Wait,
But not
yeah,
not necessarily
yeah.
at size. And if you have basic small room, projector at 110 or whatever, you can almost get that big TV doing the same thing. Very close in price. But if you want to go bigger than that and you go into big dog LED or small dog LED, whatever that is, all kit, you're still at about double the price.
Yes.
Is that what it feels like? Rough.
More than that, at the small
Yeah,
side,
it's a little more.
it's way more than that.
It's more than double. But yeah,
Okay. It's worth
I think it's your midpoint of large projection starts to cross over into the for a little bit more, we could really make this room something special.
Shouldn't you be making it something special to begin with?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Here's
on
the
that note-
40-year-old giant projection screen that's been part of the auditorium since it was built by the WPA. It still works.
Still has glass beads in it. We're good.
everything that we do is special. Just
Okay.
everything.
All right. Well,
see, we gave him some overtime.
yeah,
told you.
we'll start rolling out of here. Let me push this one over here. Where is it? There.
All right. Well, spot
We'll be back next month with another topic of something, and
maybe
we'll
on
go from there.
X/Twitter.
Did we solve the problems?
Of course we did.
Thanks for putting up with yet another episode of AV Super Friends on Topic. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients. AV Super Friends on Topic is an independent production wholly owned and operated by AV Super Friends, LLC. For the highest quality recording of all of our shows, visit avsuperfriends.com.